Hello and welcome to episode 31 of the PlayStation Country podcast. I'm Richie and I got with me as ever Gareth. Say hello.
Hello.
And we're going to talk about the latest games and stuff. Check us out on PlayStationCountry.com. Check us out on @PS4 Country on Twitter. More on Facebook and Instagram and YouTube, all as PlayStation Country without any spaces. That's enough of that bullshit. How the fuck are you, Gareth?
I'm alright, yeah. It's been an alright week for games.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You've had a few, yeah, definitely. You've got one that's covered by the most impenetrable, terrifying NDA ever.
Yeah.
I don't know if I actually sent you it, but I had to scan
did.
it and sign it. Oh man, it's like, what's the date on that one? When's the
8
embargo?
a.m. Tuesday.
8 a.m. Tuesday. So if you've got something queued up, or it's
Not
an RPG,
yet.
so you've still got a while to go, haven't you?
Yeah.
We could probably review it.
I'm kind of hoping I might get something done tomorrow or something, but we'll see. I'd like to have it ready for when the embargo's up, but if it's not, too bad.
Yeah, fair enough. We're not going to talk about what the game is.
No.
But
It's a game being released on Tuesday.
Are you enjoying it?
I don't know if I'm even allowed to say. No comment.
Fair enough. All right, fine. But you can talk about Vaccine, which got sent to us by. I shudder because I think it's an Italian dev.
I did some research because I thought it might have been as well, but I think it might be Spanish or something like that. I don't think they're Italian.
Okay. If anyone's wondering why that matters, because every time we give an Italian dev a bad review, it ends up becoming like a personal battle for me on social media and in our comments section. But yeah, okay, so tell us about Vaccine then. Sort of a bit of a survival horror from what I could gather.
Well, from you offer the games out, I checked the images, and it looks very much like it's inspired by the original Resident Evil in that it looks like it's got sort of PS1 era graphics and things like that, which isn't that common, to be fair, because you get all these sprite games. But as far as early 3D games, people, maybe that will happen, but at the minute it's just like, oh, that's just ugly 3D. It's not. There's no nostalgia there or whatever.
Yeah, it's a weird thing to do because like nothing dates harder than 3D. Like if you think about games that were stunning in their day, everything from say Metal Gear Solid to Tekken, games that when you first saw them, you're like, oh my god. You don't really want to see that look again, but you're quite happy to see something that looks like a SNES game.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's probably limits, but so this one's gone for that choice, which is quite bold. So firstly, is it kind of what makes it look PS1 era? Is it just sort of badly designed everything, or is it jaggy? Is it
it's like low poly count or whatever you want to call it, polygons, and yeah, the animation it obviously isn't as advanced as what you'd get now and things like that. It's got static camera angles. I'm not sure if the actual rooms or environments or whatever are polygons or whether they are static images like they were back in the day. I mean, it's difficult to tell. They're just sort of low-res things. But I mean, you look at the images and it's like, man, that like nails the look of Resident Evil. It kind of does, in that you start it up and even like the title screen's quite low res, the font's quite big and jagged and stuff. And then when you get to select between two characters, one male, one female, again, quite like Resident Evil. Once you select your character, it goes Vaccine, as if like they used to say Resident Evil.
Yeah. Tell me, do they have like a classic intro, like that's what Resi's most known for, isn't it? The first one is its like intro sequence. Does it make a bit of an effort there?
No. It's a bit similar in that once you get past the cutscene or whatever in Resident Evil, there's always a little bit of typing at the bottom of the screen, like writing, and it says, now you enter the nightmare or something. That is Resident Evil or something like that. It comes across, and it doesn't do that exactly. It like fills the screen, but it's like, despite your efforts, your friend has been infected again or something. you must find the vaccine within the time limit, or something like that. That pops up. It's like, right.
Mm.
So then when you start, this 30-minute timer appears on the screen, and you're in this room, and your friend, so the game calls him, is lying on a bed and just sort of vibrating on the bed like I'm infected.
Okay.
And then you've got tank control, so you're like, okay, so you press forward and you walk forward, regardless of which way the camera's facing and things like that. You need to press left and right. You'll just sort of rotate on the spot rather than going in that direction, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
You've got a run button. You need to hold a trigger to sort of bring up your aim. And you sort of, there's a sparkly thing on the ground. You pick it up. It's a knife. Okay, you've got a knife. You're armed. You look around the room a bit more. There's a note on the table, so you can read that. Again, very Resident Evil. And then you go through the door, and like one experience point pops up. And it's like, okay, so there's like an experience system here. And just from
when it does
exploring-
when it does the door
Go on.
thing,
No.
is it pure Resi style?
No,
like,
you go through the door. You literally open the door and you can walk through it. It's
okay,
not
which
a
is actually an
really
improvement.
Yeah. I
Because
mean,
that was
especially
all
as you've got a
bullshit.
timer, you don't want 10 seconds to be taken up walking through a door every time. And you just sort of explore for a bit. Again, it still feels incredibly Resident Evil because like there's the static camera. There are some cameras which pan a bit, but that wasn't like introduced until Code Veronica. But I allow it.
Yeah.
And you're finding ammo for guns you might not have found yet, or you might be finding guns if you're lucky. You might find keys. There's like med kits and things like that. And then you sort of encounter an enemy, and it'll probably be a zombie, the first thing you encounter, or it might be a bat or something, but the main enemy is a zombie. And so you sort of ready your knife and you slash him a couple of times. He doesn't go down that quick, so he probably will grab you the first time you play it. You take some damage, you get some more damage on him. You also get an experience every time you hit the zombie. It's not when you kill him.
Yeah.
And then you probably, maybe from the first kill, you get enough to level up, in which case you can level up determination, which is the speed at which you do things. So it might be reloading a weapon or swinging your knife or picking up an item. They've got a crouch and things like that, so that will speed that up. And then you've got stamina, which is how long you can sprint for. Your health.
Okay.
Your health is your damage taken. You never get more health. You start at 100, but it reduces how much damage you take. Aim, which is how much damage you do with whatever weapon you're using, and luck, which...
Alright, so we just had a bit of a crash, but we're back now. So normally we record this in one chunk, but now it's two. So you were talking about there being sort of a bit of a luck thing. You upgrade
stats,
various things, and luck was one of them.
I got through all the rest, but luck is just basically, it's a bit vague, but I think it affects your pickup. So it's either more bullets when you pick up, or maybe it creates more drops. I'm not sure, but there is a luck stat. And you're making your way through this mansion-like environment, and you're going through doors and going into rooms. Some are empty, some have items, some have enemies, things like that. And then you come across these, if you remember the lickers from Resident Evil 2, the little things crawling along the floor. Well, they can crawl all over in that, but in this they're only on the floor. And you try and sort of hit them with your knife. You might not have a gun yet, and they'll probably kill you because they're way quicker, way stronger, and all this. It's like, oh well, you're gonna die. Same in Resident Evil. People probably died against the first zombie in Resident Evil or something. It's like, why didn't I kill him in one shot or something? But so then you just get kicked out to the main menu. It's like, you failed, game over. It's like, fair enough. New game. Select your guy, vaccine, all that stuff, and then it says the same thing. Your friend's been infected despite your efforts and things like that. You load up in the same bedroom. 30-minute timer starts. The knife is on the floor again. Okay, your guy's still vibrating in the bed. There's a memo on the table again, but this time it might be slightly different. It's not necessarily the same memo. You pick up and equip your knife. You go through the door, one experience point. Go out, and you're in a different room. Maybe.
Right.
It's like, okay, this is a roguelike. This isn't
Yes.
a Resident Evil game.
Because that's what I got from your review. It's like, although I don't think you specifically said it, it was kind of like Whereas you think, oh, okay, is this them trying to do resi and crafting a story and set pieces and memorable moments, or is it just a roguelike? And it sounds like it's just a roguelike.
Just a roguelike. It's just taken elements of the gameplay from Resident Evil. So there's the memos, there's the camera, there's the graphics, there's even similarities with the enemies and things. There is, as you pick up the memos, there's a sort of story going on, a bit of clues, but like you said, it's a foreign developer. We don't know of what origin, but they're not necessarily the best written things as far as English goes and things like that. And yeah, you just sort of, you're going through, and then you might encounter a zombie again, you might encounter a bat, whatever, and you just keep plugging away at it. And for the first few goes, or probably more than that, I was like, what the hell is this game? It's like, 'cause it's got all the sort of early trappings of Resident Evil, which have been eradicated from games, because we've gone beyond that now. So it's purposely selecting sort of lesser gameplay things, and also you encounter these things crawling on the floor and they kill you like instantly. It's like, oh, this is terrible. And so I was like, oh no, this is like the worst thing ever. Why did I bother saying to review this? It's like, should have left it to Steve or something. It's like, but then I got it, and I sort of learnt to fight the zombies with the knife. You sort of get a couple of jabs in, just back up a bit, and then get a couple of jabs in, and you level up as you're using it. There's an item you can find called repellent, which when you use it, enemies don't attack you. And so I had one of those, and I encountered one of these little licker things, so I used it, and then I just used my knife to kill it, and I got loads of experience from it, which allowed me to level up a bit more. I primarily concentrate on the aim stat to start with, which is your damage, because obviously the quicker you can kill stuff, the better. I found a shotgun, I found a pistol, I had the ammo to use them, so when I encountered the next licker, if I had repellent, I'd use that again, because you actually get more experience if you use a knife than if you use a gun.
Right. Okay.
But if I didn't, I've got a gun, so I can take him out at a safe distance. And yeah, then I encountered this room where there's like this big, I called it a tyrant in the review because that's kind of what it's supposed to be, I guess, but it looks a bit like, remember from Tekken, is it Jack, the big robot guy?
Yeah,
it looks like him basically.
Okay.
Like a big guy, and you want to take him down. I had remote mines, so I placed those as he followed me. He's really slow. He never hit me in any of my gameplay things. In fact, it's like he's very slow, and just as long as you don't get close to him, you're alright. I killed him, and he dropped a weapon, which is sweet. It was like custom pistol, I think it was called, and it's basically just a super strong pistol. That was great. And in that room with Jack is the vaccine.
Okay.
Always, he's like guarding it or whatever. So you go, you grab the vaccine, you run back to your friend, completion. You've done it. Then.
So what happens next? Do you then get another mansion, or is it just you start a new run?
You start a new run in exactly the same.
Shit.
Same enemies, same location, same everything. The only difference, I mean, you keep your stats, you keep your weapons, but the only difference is the timer. Instead of 30 minutes, it's 25 minutes or 20 minutes, and as you progress, it goes lower and lower and lower.
But you're getting stronger and stronger and stronger.
Well, but I think by the end of my second level, I'd maxed out. So
no!
But by that point, you are like an invincible killing machine. Nothing should get near you. You've got this custom pistol, which it kills the lickers in 2 shots. It kills the zombies in 1 shot, and also it uses pistol ammo, which is quite a frequent pickup as opposed to the shotgun and stuff. So like enemies basically then don't pose a problem. It is literally just a timer, and can you get through this mansion, which is randomly generated, so it's not like you can learn it or it's not been designed. It's just, oh, this door is locked, so I need a key, or this door, the doorknob's broken, so it's just a dead end. And then you just got to find your way through, and you want to pick up everything you can, although you've got a limited inventory. So I did have a problem at one point where it's like, I need this key, I can't pick it up because my inventory's full, so I had to then figure out how to empty my inventory, because you can't just discard stuff.
Yeah.
So you just keep doing that, and you've always got the Tyrant Jack there at the end. But again, like I said, he's really easy, especially by the time you're that strong. You just shotgun him like a million times, or not even, like 6 times, and he's dead. And then he always drops something, but the second time it was like shotgun shells or something. It's not as good as that first drop. And yeah, you just repeat that over and over again. And my best run, which was, I don't know, level 4 or 5, out of, well, there's an achievement for doing it 9 times, I think. Whether it stops after 9th or whether it keeps going, I don't know. But yeah, it was stopped because I'd killed everything, no problem. I'd gone to every room I could, and there was just a locked door that needed a silver key, and I could not find the silver key. I'm pretty sure it must exist. It wasn't like a bug or anything, but you know, in Resident Evil, where it's like, oh, I didn't know there was an item there.
Yeah.
I just happened to see the sparkle that happened or whatever, or I just randomly clicked around. Well, this has that. In that, there's this little, those 3 pixels over there, that's a very important item or something. I just couldn't find it. And by that point I had, I think it was like sub 10 minutes or something to do it, maybe 10 minutes. So yeah, I just ran out of time, and that killed my run. But then that's like the only thing that can stop your run at that point. Like I said, like the enemies pose no threat at that point. Which
so it sounds a bit disappointing, because I mean, one of the things that you would have hoped for, given what we talked about the other day when we're talking about Resi 7, was, you know, you were saying you missed those old kind of puzzles and stuff like that, and I'm assuming this hasn't got any of that.
It's got, there's these there's like a secret thing where if you read the notes, it's like trying to explain why your friend keeps getting infected, if you know what I mean. So there is a path you can take where it just stops the infection, and like on the 3rd night or something, and that does involve these puzzles, but they're not good puzzles, you know. It's like, for a start, you sort of have to hit the clock in the first room, which you know, you'd only think of that if you read the memo. But then it's like these sort of safes on the wall almost, and you look at them, and the first one is just like a telephone. It's like a 3x3 grid of dots, and outside there are these other dots, and you've just sort of got to put those dots inside. And initially I thought, I encountered it, I was like, I don't know the solution to this puzzle yet. It's probably somewhere in the mansion. But no, it's literally, you take all those dots, and there might be 4 or 6 or something, and you put them in the centre, and it unlocks. And it's like, okay, there's no pattern to it. It's literally just put these 6 things in these 9 slots. And it's like, well, I think I can manage that. But then like in night 2, there's another one, and it's slightly different. You have a slightly variation on the design of the dots, and I think those do require a certain pattern. But again, you're not going to find a solution. You're literally just moving these things about in the hope that you hit the solution. And then night 3, I think there's the same again, and you do that, and you can solve the mystery or whatever, and you get a trophy for that. But it does end your run there, so it's like, I haven't done that, because like, if you're on a good run, I think you kind of want to see how far you can get, as opposed to, oh, you've solved the mystery, well done, here's your trophy, and game over.
Do the trophies give you an indication of how far, you know, you need to take it? Like, is there like, you know, survive to the like 10th wave of it or something like that?
The actual trophies themselves don't. In that, they're called like get to rank bat or rank snake and things like that. So it's not, it doesn't actually say what they are, but basically every night you complete it, you advance a rank. And so from trophy guides or achievement guides out there, it's like, seems to be you complete the 9th level and you get the maximum rank from the trophies.
Okay. And at that point you'll have maxed out the game?
Yeah, basically the only trophies are to get to the max rank, which is, you know, you get one for every night you complete, and that secret ending, that's all it is. Oh, and kill the first enemy. That's all your trophies. No platinum, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, like I said, initially I was like, this game is dog shit, what is this? But then once I did get that good run, I was like, maybe. But then it's like, the first level is always the hardest. It's like, if you don't get the luck of the drops and things like that, then your run could end in a couple of minutes, you know. And as long as you get through that first level, you're pretty much guaranteed to get through the second and the third, because you'll have you have the guns, you'll have leveled up a bit already, and then it's just how far can you get whilst the timer is still on your side, you know? It's like, as the timer drops, if you get lucky with the room layout and stuff and the pickups, then you're good. You can get to level 9 probably no problem. But if, like me, there's a key hidden somewhere that you can't see it, or you just have a really complex layout with loads of dead ends and stuff, you're just wasting time, then you're screwed. And it's all luck based rather than skill. Obviously there's a bit of skill to duking enemies and stuff, but like if you've got the guns and stuff, then you've got no worries as far as enemies go.
Yeah. Well, it's like we said last week, you know, procedurally generated games, you know, they're never going to be big on, like, you know, great level design, great gameplay, because, you know, it's not designed for that. I mean, that said, like, are the rooms always just preset combinations of rooms? Like, you know, you're not going to have a run and then suddenly you're in a room that you've never seen before, sort of thing. Presumably it's just building blocks.
Yeah, they're just building blocks. So, like, because obviously it's got fixed cameras and stuff, so they're always the same cameras in the same rooms and stuff like that. I did encounter a bathroom on, like, my, I don't know, 6th run or something I'd never seen before. But, you know, it's like, that was just because I hadn't seen the bathroom before. It's not like a new puzzle piece or anything like that.
Yeah.
It was, you end up seeing the same corridors and the same room over and over. In fact, one of them, I went through a door in this room that had 3 doors, and I came out the other side, and I came out the same door that I'd gone in to get into that room, if you know what I mean. I'd gone into the same room, but I'd come out the opposite side to which I'd come into the other room, if you know what I mean. So it just sort of, I just, like, it was like Portal or something, you know. I'd walked through the portal and come out the other end, and it's like, what the hell? And I sort of backed up, and it was like, oh, this is just the same room, but I've come out the door I'd gone in, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like, man, that was weird. But yeah, like, it's £10, I think, which is a bit pricey for what it is. I think if it was cheaper, then you could have some fun with it as just like, oh, I'll just power this up, and, you know, you might die within 3 minutes and go, oh well, that's done. Or you might get a decent run together, in which case you get a bit more joy out of it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's not Resident Evil. Don't think it is. There's no real story really. There's no adventure element. It's literally just, these are the mechanics of Resident Evil in a roguelike, and, you know, how much joy you're going to get from that is entirely based on you. And it's not necessarily the best designed either, because I think it's a bit like Solitaire or something, I guess, in that not every game is going to be finishable and things like that.
Yeah, which is not something you want.
No.
Okay. Well, you gave it 5 out of 10, and
yeah,
you know,
which, you know, that was when I'd come around to it, you know. So imagine what I thought about it initially. It was like, but it's not an average game. It's just like the bad parts and the good parts kind of come together to make a 5, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. All right, man. Well, I've been playing Chime Sharp. I keep trying to call it Chime Squared for some reason. Chime Sharp.
Right.
Which, you know how I feel about Chime.
Yes.
You know, fucking played the arse off of that game on the 360. Yeah, might be my favourite. Well, I think it is probably. No, I don't know. It's up there with Graw for like my favourite sort of game of last gen. And I ended up backing the Kickstarter for Chime Sharp when it got announced. Very excited about it, and I backed it for 50 quid. And I said to the guy, the developer, I said, I'm not really doing this for Chime Sharp. I'm kind of doing it because of how much time and fun I got out of Chime, you know.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like they deserved a bit of extra money, kind of thing. Anyway, that didn't work out so well, because the PC version of Chime Sharp didn't work very well with the DualShock controller, which is what I use on my PC.
Yeah.
It also, you got like some postcards, you got a keyring, which was absolute dog shit. And so basically you had a game that I couldn't really play apart from like on keyboard and mouse. And, you know, obviously I'm quite good at Chime, and so I was quite good using keyboard and mouse as well, although it felt horrible. But it was like, this is just Chime. This is just the same game as before, but with more songs, but I don't like any of them. And they've kind of updated the graphics at the expense of the gameplay a little bit. and I thought, oh, this is horrible. And I remember sort of tweeting them and saying, look, you need to change this, this, and this. There's some things fundamentally which are just taking me off my game by like 1%, you know. But when you're playing at like a, you know, top of the leaderboard kind of level, it's like that 1% matters, you know. Like I understand the game inside out, and them doing like a faux kind of 3D kind of layout, which kind of confuses you, and it's got a terrible color scheme, and that kind of confuses you. It's like I just didn't know why they were doing it, and I kept saying to them, you know, please change this back. Anyway, I just wrote it off as like a bad 50 quid spent, but you know, equally I gave thanks for the original game. And then last week they're like, oh, by the way, Chime Sharp is coming out for PS4, and it's like next week. And I was like, oh shit, I'm excited again. And I've had about 3 or 4 days with it now, and you know, got straight into it, straight to the top of the leaderboards, enjoying it. But they've not fixed any of my concerns, and I know I'm just like one guy and everything, but they're really obvious concerns. You know, your next piece indicator is just like really hard to see. It's like sometimes you're trying to cover. Well, let me explain what Chime is firstly, and it's difficult because I'm about to review it, and you don't want the review to read like an instruction manual.
Yeah.
But for people who never played it, you kind of need to do that because it doesn't explain itself very well. Chime is, you've got like shapes, like a Tetris game, but these are like 5 blocks rather than 4, and you've just got to piece them together on a board. So it's kind of like Tetris with no gravity. And when you piece them together, if it creates a 3x3 square or bigger, you know, it could be a rectangle as well, but as long as like it's 3x3 as a minimum, it will fill in that area of the background. And so what you want to do is keep filling in different areas of the screen, and then try and get to 100%. And once you've done that, in fact on this game, if you get to 90%, it then moves you on to the next screen, which is an annoyance in itself, because it's like you get like basically a few seconds to then go from 90%, where the game's ready to kick you onto the next stage, but there's a trophy for getting 100% 5 times basically in a row, and it's nearly impossible to do because, you know, you've got like a few seconds once you've got to 90% to suddenly fill in the rest of the screen. It's like I'm a fucking good player, but like I can do it some of the time, but I can't do it 5 times in a row. No one else has managed it. So anyway.
So when you say a new screen, is it the same screen and they just sort of wipe it clean, or is it a different pattern thing?
It's in the first game it would have just been the same screen.
Yeah.
In this, it's basically the same screen, but what they'll do is they'll block off certain areas within it, which, you know, that sounds like, oh great, you know, that's less area to cover, but it's more tricky because you've got to work around those areas, because there's suddenly like gaps that you've got to fit in, that you can only fit certain shapes in there maybe. I'd not really explain it very well, but you know, but it's okay. And anyway, like, yeah, just the graphics keep getting in the way, and like, as I say, you're covering up the area, and in Chime it was like the area was black and you're trying to make it like light grey or whatever. But in this, it's like the area's dark blue and you're trying to make it light blue, or the area's bright pink and you've got to make it kind of a dark red. It's like, it's never consistent. So there's times where I'm playing it and I'm like, fuck, where am I supposed to be covering? I've forgotten. And so now what I do is I always make my first move like somewhere in the bottom left, just so that I can look at it and go, oh, that's the colour that I need to make it to, you know. It's like they've tried to do something a bit artistic, and it hurts the gameplay by only a fraction. Like, but it's just an annoyance. Like, don't do that. You know, be better than you were before. Don't be worse. So that's kind of pissed me off. There's like, whereas there used to be 5 songs, there's now I think 12, and I don't really like any of them. I especially don't like the song in the first level, which is a shame because that's where the leaderboard action's happening, really.
Is it the type of game where you could mute it, or is the sound... Because I know they had a bar wiping across the screen to sort of show the timing and stuff as well, but
yeah,
are you listening to the music to go, oh, I need to get this done before this thing hits, or is it just it's more enjoyable to listen to the music whilst you're playing it, or it was anyway on the previous game, or what?
In the previous game, I liked having the music on there because the music was ace. On this game, I'm less asked about it, so I've actually been playing it with the volume down for a lot of the time, especially if I'm playing the first level, because the music on the first level, it's like, I don't know if you listen to much dance music, but the problem with dance music is that sometimes it just never kicks in. Like, you're listening to it and it's like there's this ambient sort of build up, but after a minute you kind of want some bass line and drum patterns to come in and really take it to another level, and sometimes it just never does that. And this song doesn't even get that far. It's like, it's just sort of ambient noise that's shit, and it's like, it's like, I like the game because the core gameplay is there and whatever, but like, I'm not addicted to it like I was the first one. Now maybe it's because I played the first one for like literally hundreds of hours, and maybe I just got it out of my system. And what I do like about this game is that it's like, whereas in the first game I could take 3-minute mode and I could play for like, well, an endless amount of time, but I think the most I played for to get a number 1 position was like over 4 hours. And it's like, this doesn't have that mode anymore. It's like everything's kind of constricted. So that's good, because it means, at most you're playing for like half an hour. And I appreciate that. That makes sense. I'm into that. But I just wish it was basically the first game. I'd rather they just brought out the first game again, and and I could just play it all over. Whereas this one, I'm just not as excited by it. So whereas, Chime, I'd probably give a very good score to. This one deserves, like, to anyone who's never played Chime before, this is well worth getting into, and it is good, and you still get the same feel from it. But for me, I'm like, I can't help being disappointed, and even though it might take it from being like a 9 down to like, to me it might take it down to a 7, but when it's the sequel to the game, one of the games you most love in the world, a 7 just isn't fucking good enough.
Yeah.
It's like, you know what that's like. It's like, it's the difference between, say, Resident Evil 2 and Resident Evil 3.
Yeah.
It's like, it's the same but not as good, and being 2 points less good might not sound like much, but to me it's everything. To me it's why I'm not playing it all the time. So
Yeah, and they can they could give you a option maybe to give you a very basic layout and things like they had before. And so then if people like the new visuals, they could keep them. If they don't like you, then they could go back to the old one. But like, they're not going to be able to replace the music, are they, and things like that. So
no.
It's probably not redeemable in that sense.
If the visuals got better, I'd maybe, there's still some tunes I haven't listened to, and I might find, a tune and level combination that's perfect, and that's the one I want to stay on. Like, that does happen. Like with Chime, I got just obsessed with the final level. That was the one where I really put all my leaderboard efforts into. And on this one, I sort of feel like the first level is the one to do that on. But I just don't like the music, so I kind of don't enjoy being on it.
Yeah.
And with that and the visuals, it's a disappointment. But it was a disappointment I already knew I was disappointed about. Like, I wasn't expecting the PS4 version to kick everything up to a new level and be amazing. But I do hope that they listen to my criticism, but they haven't done so far. The only time they did, funnily enough, was when I said to them that they need to put in a next piece indicator, because it was like, I think in the first version of Chime Sharp it didn't have one. And they put it in, but it's like, it's white on like a light background, depending on what level you're playing. Like, so it's sometimes basically invisible, and it's quite confusing because it shows you the next 3 pieces. It's like, I don't need the next 3, I need the next 1.
Yeah.
If you're thinking on Chime, you're losing. That's basically the way it goes. Like, you need to be constantly moving, constantly doing stuff if you want to be playing at like a really high level. So you don't need to know what's coming 3 spaces above, because you haven't got time to read that. But you need to know, you need to be able to see it in bold what the next piece is, because that's important. Anyway, there you go. So a bit disappointed. Haven't done my review yet. Probably going to do it today. Feels like it's either going to be like a pissed off 7 or a I love Chime, and I'm seeing the best of it 8. You know,
Yeah.
it's a 7.5 all
You're
day.
going to be writing it, and then you'll sort of form your
Yeah.
opinion by the time you finish the review, hopefully.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll just if the hate guides me through the thing, because it's difficult. It's difficult, man. Yeah, there you go. You've been playing game, and I don't know how to pronounce it. So how do you pronounce it?
I don't know. East Origin, maybe? YS.
Okay, it's YS Origins.
Yeah.
Your Sinclair Origins,
Yeah.
and yeah, Japanese.
Yeah, it's an old game, and apparently I only checked this before the podcast. It was released on Microsoft Windows in 2006 or something.
Oh, what's this? A port of that? It's not
Yeah.
a sequel.
No. I thought it was an older game, in fact, because it's like, although all the areas are 3D, the characters are 2D sprites, so I thought maybe it was a lot older, but apparently not. And yes, kind of, it seems like an RPG in that there's talking and there's leveling up and stuff, but the gameplay itself is more adventure platformy type thing, where you got a 2D character, but the rooms themselves are 3D. You can move in all directions. It's sort of an isometric kind of, or it's like at least up at an angle, so you can sort of see
Yeah.
the depth and things. And yeah, you're sort of going through rooms and killing enemies. You'll level up as you defeat them, but then you'll find new pieces of equipment. So it's not really like a Zelda, but it's like you have to go a certain path in order to get a key, which you can use earlier on, and then you'll find a piece of apparatus which allows you to breathe underwater more, or you'll find a new ability which will be, to cast fire or something like that. So it's got an adventure type thing, and
Is there almost like a Metroid-y thing going on there?
I wouldn't go that far, but yes, it's like, it's not so much that, like, I'm not going to be going back to the first area, I don't think, with a new skill and finding new secrets and things like that. I think it's basically self-contained. In whatever zone you're in, you'll find the item that you need to progress and things like that. I could be wrong about that, but it doesn't seem like you'll be going back to early areas with new skills. But it does have that sort of adventuring type feel, where all the combat is real time. You're just sort of hitting square, and you've got your special abilities, like I said, with a magic meter that refills, so you can use those pretty frequently as well, which is good. There's no defend button, so like it does end up being a bit button mashy and more on your positioning rather than, it's not a Bayonetta or anything like that. But yeah, it's a lot of fun, like exploring, and it's not been too difficult. I'm playing on normal. I thought I set it to hard, but every time I save it, it says it's on normal, so it's like, okay, whatever. And yeah, it's just fun going through. The main sticking point will be the bosses, but then they're really good old school bosses, if you know what I mean, in that they've got patterns, and you can, they might be invincible at a certain point, and then they'll get stunned, or they'll start panting or something, and at that point you can get your damage in and things like that. So it's a matter of learning the boss and finding out where the weak point is and things like that. So, and even if you do die on the boss, if you retry, you will start on the boss. It's like there are save points otherwise, where if you die outside, then you have to go back to that save point. But in a boss, you can retry the boss as much as you need to.
Okay. Are they like lengthy boss battles? Is it checkpoint or anything?
Not that I've seen. It's not. They haven't got multiple health bars, or at least the ones I've done so far haven't.
Yeah.
But they have got big health bars that you sort of, if they do get stunned, then you're sort of hitting them for a certain amount, and then they'll get off, and you've got to do that like 3 or 4 times or whatever. But then also partway through the boss battle, they will change up their attacks. Like the very first boss sort of splits into a load of bats and chases you, but when they do that, they're invincible. So you've got
Is it turn-based?
No, it's all real time. You're just running around
okay.
and hitting square, and then you sort of wait for them to reform, and then you can get your hits in. But obviously, then you've also got to know when to stop hitting him, because he's then going to just try and punch you or something, and then he'll split into bats and come after you again. And then halfway through the fight, maybe once you've got him down to half health, he'll split into 2 swarms of bats, and then he'll reform into two bodies. So then you've got to juggle dodging 2 people, but also getting your damage in and stuff. So I'm really enjoying it, got to say. I'm sort of it's on the back burner a little bit because of the game I can't mention. I want to get that done first, but
Yeah.
yeah, I'm really enjoying East Origin.
In terms of the visuals, then, have they completely rebuilt the graphics engine? Do you think it's like not just a scaled up version of what they had before?
No, I wouldn't say that. It's definitely sharp and things like that. Even the 2D images, I don't know if they've redrawn them or how good they were originally or what, but those are pretty sharp. They're basic. It's not like a beautifully animated thing. The models remind me a lot of old, I don't know, Saturn or Mega Drive, sort of those 2D sprites, but they are high def, if you know what I mean. And the visuals, the 3D ones are kind of basic, made up of basic blocks, but at the same time they're attractive, well designed and things like that, and they are sharp, they're not jagged. So I don't know how much work they've done on it, but they haven't completely redone everything, that's for sure. But at the same time it's pleasant to look at, you know. I've just played Vaccine, so it's like it's way better than that. But
yeah,
it's like that's why I thought it was older than it was, because it does sort of resemble almost like an upscaled PlayStation game or something, and that it's got the 3D visuals of the 2D things. But yeah, it looks nice. There's variety in the areas as well, in that, you know, you go from one area which is a water world and then you go to the next area, it's a fire area and things like that. So and the story doesn't really get in the way. There are certain elements where there are a bit lengthy conversations and stuff, but generally you are just doing the adventure stuff, and that's a lot of fun.
Did they have other games in the series?
There are loads of East games, but I've never played one before, so I don't know how it compares, how, you know, whether they've evolved or whether they're all this sort of adventure-y thing. I think I've got one on my Vita, but I've not started it yet. So if I enjoy this enough, then maybe I'll be looking into that. Also, there's multiple characters in this, by the way. I'm playing as this woman with an axe, but there's some wizard guy as well that you can choose, and I assume, I've not done it yet, but I assume they've got separate stories, so there's more to it in that regard as well.
You're always the woman character, aren't you?
Well, not necessarily. I don't like magic users, really.
But aren't the women normally the magic users?
Normally, yeah, but this one, she's got an axe. She's the melee person, whereas the guy is the magic user. And like, as soon as I hear about magic, I'm kind of off-put a bit.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, because I like sort of thief, speedy characters. Quite often they are the women. So yeah, not always, but I generally do choose the women. But yeah, in this it was purely because I looked at the guy and he's like, oh, he's a magician. I was like, oh, no thanks. I will give him a go before my review, but and he'll probably be fine, you know. But I don't know. There's something about waving a wand from a distance that I don't enjoy.
Fair enough, man. Fair enough. Okay, well that's all good. Apart from that, then I think that's everything we've reviewed. Let's have a quick look at the site and just see what we've been covering this week. Mostly Steve doing stuff. He's been reviewing a bunch of stuff. Got a bunch of stuff on the go, hasn't he?
Yeah, I think he's got at least one more thing to come yet. Is he doing that platforming one? I can't even remember what it was called.
Let's see. He's just on So Many Me, which he gave 7 out of 10.
No, that was Mike, I think.
Was that Mike? Okay, fair enough. Grizzly did Skyride, which I thought looked like it might be good fun, but yeah, you know, it wasn't to be. He gave it 2 out of 10, said it was... Basically, his problem with it was that, like, there's no modes or menus or anything. It's like just there's one track and you just race that, and it's like seems incredibly thin. I talked about MX Nitro last week, didn't I? And yeah, you know, played some more of it, reviewed it, all that. Gave it 8 out of 10. Very much liked it. You gave Toy Odyssey 7 out of 10. Steve did Monster Loves. You gave it 5 out of 10, and then we're into stuff, you know, at that point that we did last week. Aside from that, have you been playing anything else, or has it just been all reviews?
Yeah, it's just basically Vaccine I sort of knocked out in a day. I've been playing East for a couple of days, and the game that didn't be mentioned, I've been playing for like a week or so. I've put over 20 odd hours into it. So it's basically that, and that's still going to be the case for a couple more days probably. Then I'll see if I'm ready to write a review or not.
I finally finished the maxing out the Bug Butcher yesterday, and a game that I'm very, very fond of. Steve gave it a really good review. We've talked about it on here, and it was one of those games where you can just kind of pick up, and the missions or the levels are only like 2 or 3 minutes long, but you do have to kind of learn them and figure out the best sort of routes to take. I took a load of footage of it yesterday because I felt like I might actually kind of do something with the YouTube channel again, and also actually kind of get the word out there a little bit, because I've really enjoyed it. And it got really tough at the end. It's one of these games where you've got to kind of keep a combo going, and there's a time limit, but you never really have any problem with the time limit. Like, it was never a factor. And then on the last 2 screens, it suddenly became a very big factor, and I was like, fuck's sake, like I was struggling to get the combo because it was difficult, and then I'd get the combo and then the level would end. I'd be like, oh my god, so I've worked really hard to do this one thing, and then I get done by the time limit. And I was just playing it over and over and over, trying to refine things, and eventually managed it. And then had a couple of easier trophies to do, which I then banged out. And that was it. It was a nice max. And a really rewarding one, but like 21 bronze trophies and nothing else. Like, why do they do shit like that?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't get trophies at all, to be honest. Like, every Xbox game has like 1,000 gamer score, pretty much, I think, on the Xbox One. And so it's like, there's no, oh, this is an indie game, or this is a rubbish game, or this is a really good game, or whatever. It's like 1,000 gamer score, whatever. Whereas trophies don't seem to make any sense.
No. I mean, I didn't even mind back in the early days where it was like you had, 1,000 gamer score for disc games and 200 for Xbox Live Arcade games. That was fine. I didn't mind that. But it's then when they started to complicate it, when you got stuff like the Orange Box, which had about 1 billion fucking trophies, and then
Halo
you had games
3 or something.
Yeah, exactly. And that all kind of, the gamer score was like suddenly like thousands. And then suddenly you had it like indie games were getting like, was it 250, and then it was all getting a bit weird. And I don't like it. I like things to be a bit consistent, but the Bug Butcher is not an easy game to max out, but it's not a really, really, really hard game. It just takes a bit of work. It's just nicely pitched. It's not a gimme. And I just feel like it deserves better than 21 fucking bronze trophies. Like, if I was the developer, I would always put in a platinum, because A, really shit games have got them, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
And B, it's like trophy hunters want platinums. Like, I picked up a game the other day, was it Jazz Punk, which is like a 2-hour max, because I'm a bit of a whore for those sort of things. It's like, that sold on me getting like a max out of it, and for being pretty good as well. But I figure 2 hours of my time, end up with a max. That's cool. So put in a platinum. Fucking, people want that. Don't cripple your game's sales, because how many people bought the fucking Bug Butcher? Not many, I can tell you.
No, I've literally never heard of the game other than you and Steve talking about it.
Exactly.
So yeah,
I think we were the only review on Metacritic for it. So like, fuck's sake, don't hamstring yourself with 21 fucking bronze trophies.
Yeah. And if every game had a platinum, then you could, because there are bronze, silver, and gold, then that could be the differentiator if you wanted. Because obviously, I assume, because you've got your overall trophy level or whatever, I assume a bronze is worth less towards that than a silver or something.
That's
but
right.
If every game had a platinum, then the average would just go up. It wouldn't change anything. So I don't, I don't get it, to be honest. Because as you say, I've had games which are really hard to max or really good, and it's like no platinum for you, and they might have all bronzes, as you say, or maybe 1 gold for doing the hardest thing in the world. And then there's trash, which has a platinum, and
well, it's like LA Cops. LA Cops had a platinum, didn't it? Like, why does that get a platinum but this doesn't?
Yeah, I have
It's,
no
it's
idea. Like, is it
ludicrous.
Sony? Do they say no, you can't have platinum, or is it?
You know what? I don't think it can be because I don't believe Sony really care anymore. Like when you think about stuff like Life of Black Tiger getting released, it's like they obviously don't really care. So I'm going to actually maybe ask the devs on this one and just say, look, really like the game, but the fuck's up with 21 bronze trophies? Like, do you just hate money? Is that all it is?
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see that insider. Like, do the devs just not care about trophies? I mean, this, achievement's been around for a long time, so you kind of think they'd know that there is a culture of trophy hunting or achievement hunting,
Yeah.
whatever. But yeah, there's got to be a reason for just a load of bronzes. Or maybe it's
Yeah.
like a score thing. Maybe Sony go, right, you can have 200 trophy points worth of thing or whatever, and so then they decide to split that up into so many bronzes rather than a few silvers or something. I don't know.
I don't know, because you got 21 trophies on this, 21 bronzes, and then on Chime, I think it's less than 21 trophies, but you get a platinum. So yeah, 18 trophies on Chime. So
Yeah, so I'm wondering if it is like they decide to have more trophies but at a lower score
no,
value.
because think
or
about it,
something.
because like something like Contrast, which I maxed out, that was all bronzes,
Was it?
and yeah,
But it only had like 5 or something.
yeah, it only had a few. It wasn't many. So
Don't
yeah,
know.
it's all very
It's all
curious.
just guesswork, and I have no idea. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense.
Oh, sorry, no, Contrast had 21 bronzes as well.
Wow, there you
Maybe
go.
maybe on
that's-
something. Okay. Well, aside from that, I bought that Star Wars Battlefront in the sale because
Right.
it was £8, and you mentioned it, and I thought, oh, I'd read up on what the VR mission's like because that's why I bought it.
Yeah,
It's not-
people rave about it.
people lose their fucking minds about it. Not amazing. Not amazing. It gets the feel right. Yeah, it does get the feel. But it's like the battle that you have, and it's not very long. The battle you have is just you in space. There's like some sort of big ship around there that's got turrets that occasionally shoot at you, and then you've got lots of like the small ships that have got like the boxy sort of wings on them. I don't know what they're called. They're not X-wings or whatever. They're the enemy
TIE
ones.
fighters.
Sure, something like that. I don't know. And
That's the only ones I know: X-wing, Y-wing, and TIE fighters.
well, it's whatever. And there's like loads of them, and you just shoot at them, and it looks all right, and it gives you lots of red 5, blue 5, whatever. Like giving it all that shit from the film.
Yeah.
But like, I thought it'd be good. I actually thought they were going to give you the Death Star run, which would have been amazing. But they don't. They just give you like a space battle, and it's like I've already played a couple of space battle-y games, and this is no better than any of them. The only good thing is when you first fire it up, there's. Are you going to buy it?
Well, not now.
Not now. When you start it up, like you see one of those AT-AT things, the big giant robot dog
the
things.
walkie ones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like its foot is right in front of you, and then of course you look up and you see the whole fucking thing, and it's like, oh, that's good.
Yeah. So I thought there was like a Death Star run or something similar, but I guess not.
No, I
You
thought
never
there might
even
have been.
fly close to the surface of something.
No.
I mean, it is a free thing at the end of the day, but you had to
Yeah.
buy a game in order to get the free thing.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
Battlefront. I figure I can probably get some fun out of Battlefront.
Well, if you're actually going to play it, then maybe I will buy it 'cause it's only £8, isn't it?
Yeah.
But obviously,
Exactly.
if it's going to be another Battlefield Hardline or whatever, then it just
Well, no, because people have already put time into this, so people already have it. So, and also this has got a like a horde mode type thing, which is all I'm really interested in. But I know you're
think,
into your PvP at the moment.
Well, I wouldn't go that far, but yeah, I don't hate it as much as I once did. But I believe Mark owns Battlefront, so maybe we can tell Borderlands to get lost and play this for a bit.
I don't know, I'm well into Borderlands at the moment. Aside from that, I've been putting some extra time into not MX Nitro, Moto GP 13, which obviously we've we've got an agreement that we'll do the online stuff together
Well,
on.
I've actually done literally everything other than the online stuff now. So
Really?
yeah.
Okay.
So
That's interesting.
if you're ready or whatever, then
yeah. Any time, man. Because what I'm doing at the moment is I'm doing the one season where you've got to finish higher than Rossi or whatever.
yeah.
And what I've taken to doing is crashing into him because he generally finishes third, and I'm like, well, if I can keep crashing into him and making him finish fourth, I'll still win because it's pretty easy.
Yeah, but you'll win sooner.
Yeah, exactly. I'll basically, because all I got to do is finish above him by as many points as possible.
It's true, but I ended up just finishing first the whole way through the season anyway. Because you've got to get to level 56 anyway to unlock a rider for a trophy.
Apparently, you can access him online.
Oh, okay.
Like, right away, which so there's that.
Right. Fair enough. I mean, I was level 54, and then I did a couple more races to unlock him. By the time I'd done everything else, you know what I mean, including like the wheelies and the endos.
Yeah, I've still got to do the endos.
Yeah, that it wasn't as bad as I thought. I just kind of slowly went around the track doing endos and like finishing last every time, but that didn't matter because I wasn't doing it to win. I was doing it to get the endos. I'd done everything else pretty much. But yeah, I'm ready to spend 3 hours online at any point.
Which presumably levels you up as well.
I'd have thought so, yeah. But like I said, I was on level 54. I wanted to play something on my Vita, so I was like, I'll do a couple more tracks, and then I unlocked him and did the trophy. I mean, I don't even know if the riders are actually any different from each other, if you know what I mean, like stats wise. Or if it's just
idea.
like, hey, this is this real life guy. He might be your favourite.
Well, I think that Rossi guy's like the big deal, isn't he?
Yeah. He definitely is. But then why is this... I can't even remember what his name is. He's got a funny name. The American guy that you unlock at level 56, why does he take so long to unlock? Is he like the Super Mario or whatever? I can't even think what the super secret characters would be. I was going to say
Super Mario.
I was going to say the Super Sonic, but then nobody's probably played Sonic R, which is a game I really liked.
Right.
Which everyone hates.
Does Grizz hate it?
I have no idea. You have to ask him. Twitter.
Fair enough.
But I played that a lot on the Saturn, and like these days, it's hated by all.
Fair enough. No, aside from that, man, I guess that's everything I've been playing. Yeah, Chime, Battlefront, Bug Butcher, and that's it. And a little bit of that football game that got us in trouble a while back because they keep patching it, and I decided I'd basically bang out some footage of that as well, and maybe do a video review of it, and I don't know, not try and reignite the storm or anything. Just see what's up. Anything else for you in the PSN sale that's up at the moment?
I thought there was something, but nothing's jumping to mind because it's mostly EA, isn't it, at the minute?
There's also they've updated the exclusive discounts.
Yeah.
So there's a bunch of indie stuff in there.
Yeah, I thought I did look at something, but didn't I look at Dragon Age Inquisition, the Game of the Year edition? Because even though I own Dragon Age already, I don't have any of the DLC, but it's cheaper to buy the Game of the Year edition, which comes with all the DLC, than to actually buy the DLC. Like the game itself is £12 or something, and all the DLC together is $15 or something like that.
Right.
So I was considering that, even though I got a bit bored of Dragon Age, and never finished it. But we'll see. Like the past few times I've been like I looked at Trackmania last week or however long it was in the sale, and I ended up not getting that. So it's like I just sort of look at it and decide against it at the minute. That's the way I'm doing it, but we'll see.
You had any more VR experiences that you want to talk about?
Yeah, I started up Rush of Blood again, did a few more levels, but after having literally no problems for the first few days, like I had serious issues of drifting at this point.
Yeah.
I did move the camera and move it back, so I don't know if that was a thing. Maybe if I go through the setup again it'll be better, I'm not sure. But yeah, it was like I only played 2 levels, and I think partway through both levels it wasn't even like it was because I was playing it for a long time or anything. it was just kept going left, and I kept trying to fix it, and then as I was trying to fix it, it just got worse, and so like
Yeah.
it ended up being literally 90 degrees to my left. So and I ended
I
up
had it on that game where there's things that basically jump in your face and scream at you,
yeah.
and I'm like looking at them from the side, and they're just screaming at something that's next to me, and it's like, yeah, bit annoying. That's one of the games that was a bit more prone to it, but
Yeah,
you know,
but like the first time I played it, it wasn't an issue, so I don't know.
yeah,
Yeah, but it was weird because you're supposed to be able to hold options or whatever, and it resets the viewpoint. But that didn't work either. I had to go back into the PlayStation options, go to devices, and like recalibrate the camera or whatever, and that would do it.
oh
Which is a
right,
bit irritating, but yeah, it was a fun enough game. I think I'm probably about halfway through or something now. As you say, there's lots of hey, there's a thing in your face moments,
yeah,
which is a bit annoying because I end up like trying to shoot it, and you've got a shotgun or something, you're wasting your ammo. It's like,
yeah,
and they just do that pretty much every level. It's just like thing in your face. It's like, oh no, it's literally in my face. But yeah, it's a shooting gallery in it, so it's like, it's
yeah.
fine.
What else can they do, I suppose?
Yeah. But other than that, I did load up Drive Club again, see if I could, harden myself to the sickness or whatever. I did the time trial this time rather than the race, and it was all right. I still had a few, as you're drifting or whatever, it's a bit, but it was fine. Tried out the Call of Duty thing again, whatever it's called,
Yeah.
because it crashed the first time, and that's fine. I get it a bit with that as well, where because you're just sort of, I mean, you're not strafing, but you're sort of going in all directions. So it's
Well,
a bit
that
like
that experience demo thing is pretty much what you get from the Star Wars.
yeah.
It's much the same thing. You're in space having a bit of a dogfight,
Yeah, which is fine. For like I don't know, I want a bit more depth. I keep thinking about starting up Tomb Raider to see what that is, where you're just sort of looking around the mansion or whatever. But
Yeah.
with the reviews, I haven't had a chance. But I think that's it. I tried Job Simulator because the first time I tried it, I couldn't actually start it because I couldn't get into the designated zone that they said I had to stand in.
Yeah.
And so then I adjusted my camera and stuff, and I was able to get in that. And then the game started, and I was literally like, you've played it, haven't you? You're in a cubicle. Like,
No, I've never played it actually.
you're in like a cubicle at work, that sort of thing, an office space. And I was basically stood right up to the desk, and like there's loads of area around you as well, and I literally couldn't do it because of the wall and stuff like that. And so yeah, that's not a game I'm going to be buying because I can't play it. Basically, it's like in my space at the minute.
Yeah.
But when I did adjust the camera, I was stood up rather than sat down like I had been, and I decided to play a bit more ping pong VR while stood up, and it was better stood up. Like it felt
Yeah.
like the table was in front of me and stuff. Whereas when I sat down, it's like just playing a game. Whereas when I stood there, I mean, it's still you're just playing ping pong. It's just fun having that one-to-one control. Like I said before, it's like I'm not really good at it or anything. I've still not taken a set from the Easy AI or anything like that. But
God.
it is fun just having a little rally or something,
Yeah.
But it's not a game I'd recommend
No.
because
no,
it is
no.
just single player and there's not a lot of content. But there's potential there for a game of that type if a developer wants to put in the effort to make it a fully fleshed out thing.
Well, one thing they did, I actually did fire up that VR Worlds again, and I finally got round to playing whatever the sports game on there is, which is essentially a ping pong sort of thing. There's basically you've got a paddle, but it goes left, right, up, down sort of thing, and so's your opponent, and there's like a chamber, a hallway, a corridor in front of you, between you, and you're just bouncing a ball at each other. And
But that's attached to your face, isn't it? Like you sort of, it's where you look rather than the
it's where
controller.
you look. Yeah, I suppose so. So there is that. But I do like. I was playing it. I quite liked it. It actually reminded me of an old Spectrum game called Room 10, which did exactly the same game, but not VR, not motion controlled.
Yeah.
So that's kind of cool. It works really well, and then eventually got a bit too hard. I was like, fair enough. Apart from that, though, man, I don't think there's anything else. So unless there's anything else you want to get off your chest.
No.
No. Fair enough. No, I suppose the only thing I wanted to probably bring up is that this one's for my par. Let's cue the music.
Go for it. Do it.
Yeah, nice. And we'll be back next week.
Yes, and I'll be talking about the game that can't be mentioned.
Yeah. It better be good.
I
You tell
can
me.
never say.
But you can tell me off air. You can't even tell me off air.
I
You
think
can't
I
even tell
can.
your
I think the
family.
NDA says that people involved in the website or something. Because you're basically... Well, you signed the NDA, so... basically,
Yeah,
I
signed
could do
it.
what I want.
I kinda didn't read it.
I did look over it. It's all... I'll just cut us off. Go.
Yeah. Alright. Bye then.
Bye.